Hello there, welcome back. I'm sure it's been a little while since you've heard from me, and trust us, I'm more than happy to be back in the chair. So today, we're going to be talking about David Bowie. After this little month off, which I had to take for personal reasons, and if you're interested, more on that will come towards the end of the video, when the moment finally came to get back into it and resume having these lovely chats with you, I would pick a worthy topic. Now, since obviously it's the first couple of weeks of January, it is that moment in time in which a lot of other people, journalists, media outlets, far beyond myself, would be taking a moment to remember David Bowie, but I think it only appropriate that I give my 2 cents as well. When you first think of David Bowie, you can think of all the shenanigans that he'd been up to throughout his career, but the first thing that comes to mind for me is the term fearless, unique, original. And in a way, I'm pretty sure that these terms resonate with a lot of you listening. Throughout his career, I think we can easily say that David Bowie can be considered a figure who just fought viciously for the principles of individuality and freedom of expression. Now, as I'm sure that many of you watching are going to be around my age, and I'm pretty sure you could probably relate to how I generally got into David Bowie. See, when I think of his music, I always go back to those days in the back of the car where Mum was, finally able to get control of the radio and maybe put a couple of songs on, and just in the back me, 90% of the time playing Pokemon, just having these lovely songs carry me away, and I always remember the wistful melodies just take me away, move me up to just a different headspace, a very freeing headspace. I find the melodies of Bowie's music, characterised by a heavy use of sus chords, to be very lightweight and whimsical, and just simply put, very fun. Just fun music, fun, beautiful music. However, I'm pretty sure that at the time I would have been anywhere between the ages of 6 and 10. So I wasn't fully able of grasping Bowie beyond his music as a fully fledged figure. So this is what we're here for today. In the past 5 years since his passing, I've just, every time there's an occasion to sit back and think about Bowie, my appreciation just keeps on going up and up and up as I learn more and more and more about the character. And I will continue to learn. There's still obviously a lot of things that I wasn't bloody alive for, so I don't know everything. But the one aspect of his character which I think stood out in all the fancy outfits he put on, and all the times he'd strop around on stage doing whatever he wanted, although he was touching topics in media and in general discussion which I wouldn't say were taboo, well, some of which weren't taboo, but some of his choices obviously went against the trends of tradition and the culture at the time. And you may think to yourself, how can a figure who constantly went against the tide today be, reflected upon as just such a warm figure who everyone remembers so dearly? And I think honestly that's because he struck a very fine balance between protecting his and the freedom of any fan who followed him, but speaking for himself, and not speaking of others. You never find him saying, oh, I think what you're doing is shit. He'd always say, I want to do this, and if you like it, cool, if you don't, not. And in essence, that is the attitude which we all remember, and gave a lot of people courage to express themselves. And as an artist, public figure, or however you may choose to remember Bowie, I think that's his greatest achievement. How he can affect so many different people in so many different ways, but come across the same way to everyone. And I think that's bloody beautiful. See, I personally remember my first point of contact with Bowie outside of music, in the film Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. A wonderfully directed film. I adored it. That attraction, that need to explore, that need to know of Captain Your Moy with Major Jack, I think just embodies how the entire world felt with Bowie, and how everyone just felt this need to want to explore more with this character, learn about how he felt, how he thought, and just cross boundaries which before were, well, uncrossable. I remember this little quote from a rendition of Ziggy Stardust in '72, where he just shouts, "Give me your hands, because you're wonderful. You're all wonderful." And that, in 2 cents, I believe, as I said not a minute or two before, is the pure essence of Bowie, and why we all appreciate him. He stood up for himself and others, and paved the path for all of us to follow and express ourselves, express our music, express our sexuality, gender, mind, political opinion, anything. And in the wake of 5 years since the period we lost him in, I think it's only appropriate to sit back, relax, have a sip of your favourite caffeinated beverage, and thank, from the bottom of our hearts, a figure who will be sorely missed for years to come, for all that he has given us. And on that note, if you're just here to listen about my thoughts on Bowie, you're more than welcome to pop off. On a more personal update, it's been about a month since I've put something up, and long story short, I fell very ill towards the day I uploaded my last video until a little bit after Christmas, and I was just completely unable to record or do anything. It wasn't, the big bad disease going around at the moment, but it was still pretty awful nonetheless. But I went through appropriate medical care and advice and got over it. The only issue then is when I did feel well enough, I obviously had to catch up on a bit of university work and do a few exams. So now that that's completely done, I'm back, I'm having fun. And you tell me, at the end of the day, do you think or agree with anything I said about Bowie? Since I spoke of how the film A Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence affected me, if you have any specific stories about Bowie that you may want to share with me, feel free to comment. I love reading the comments down below. And I don't know, that's very much it. If you like the shit, subscribe, do whatever.